to talk over, but one thing I say to people, do a dating plan for investors. And that might sound extreme, but for me, it's if I'm going on dates and I'm going to meet these people, I want to know what it is that I could see me working with them, because I see it's very easy to if you take people at face value. So people think, oh, I've got £1 million worth. I've got an offer for £1 million. I say, congratulations. Now let's find out what that deal really means. Because until you see the contract, it doesn't mean anything that they're going to offer you £1 million. I can offer you £1 million, even for the same amount of percentage. But if I've got 100% of control of your business, or maybe not 100%, but if I've got total control over what you're doing, it changes the dynamic. And some people need that. Some people want that. Some people are okay with that, but you have to understand that it's not just about the number of shares and the number of pounds or dollars or euros. There's more to it than that. It's the discussion. Once you see then the term sheet, even then there's a level of detail in that term sheet. You can see, they're going to look at that, but the devil's in the detail for the investment. And you only really get to know people. It almost feels for me like you only get to know the investors when you've already spent a lot of time with them, and that might just be negotiating a deal. So you get to really understand, just the same as when you're selling or buying a business, you really get to understand the seller or the buyer and what their real true values are when you're negotiating the deals. They may say, oh, we want to make this as easy as possible, and commercially they're going to be really commercial, but then they get a bee in their bonnet about one thing. So it takes time, doesn't it, to really understand the deal, understand who you're talking to. And I think you have to have a clear vision in your mind about who you want on your team, because the investors are on your team.
I completely agree. And I'm thinking of a company that you and I both know that's been going through a funding round right now. And part of the conversation was exactly that. What sort of investors do we want on board? And it's been a hard slog to find investors, and the right sorts of investors that will not just put money in, but will actually add value and bring things that sort of almost skills and expertise that we don't necessarily have. So I completely agree with that.
Contacts or sales, or so they're adding more value than they're receiving, or because some people want hands-on investors, some people want completely hands-off investors, and they want them to stay well away. So it's interesting. We were talking just before about structuring investment, and I want to just bring that into the conversation, because one of the things I was when we've got clients who are raising 60 million over a period of time, and they're doing it through a mixture of different ventures. They might do some debt, loan agreements, you might do some warrants, some equity, different elements, different ways of raising funds. And I don't know whether this is the lawyer in me, but I like consistency. I like the structure. I like the simplicity of allowing somebody to come in and buy at that rate. However, each investor will have its own little stamp of what they want or what they expect. So what you think will be consistent ends up not being consistent. And when we just spoke earlier, you said it's not the way to do it. I'd love your thoughts on how to structure those deals so that you don't, and actually say that on the other side, and it's a fabulous woman who is raising investment, and she said, I'm only giving away 10% and nobody's going to negotiate with me. And it's like these two different pieces, two ends of a spectrum. It's like, sure, we'll negotiate with you, but we're going, because we're raising so much, and I'm not negotiating. I'm sticking to 10%. What's your thought? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, and I think both of those are really good examples. One of the biggest mistakes people looking for investment make is they almost go into the investor's office cap in hand, as if they're desperate for the funds.
Right.
And so the investor says, I don't like those terms. These are the only terms I'll accept if you want my money. And too many people, I think, just bow to that and say, okay, fine, we'll make a plan because we want your money. the best thing somebody looking for investment can do, they need to almost get themselves in a mindset. Sometimes I say you need to meditate or something before you go in, and get yourself into this mindset that you have something of value. That investor is looking for a place to put their money that they believe will be a good home for it and that will give them a good return. If you say what's the outcome they actually want, they want to know that if they put £10 in, they're going to get 100 back or whatever. So you've got to go in there as an equal, not as somebody that is desperate for their money. And say, this is really valuable. You have to believe in what you're putting. You've got to believe in your business. And you've got to say, it's actually a privilege for me to be offering you this opportunity for you to put your money. You've almost got to have that without being egotistical, but you've got to have that confidence to say, this is an opportunity for you. These are my terms. Now, it's not to say you'll be totally inflexible, but on the whole, that's a huge failing, I think, of a lot of people that look for investing. Whether they are a fund or a business, it doesn't matter. And again, the equity story comes into that, because the stronger the equity story, let's say you're a fund, for example, if you've got a demonstrable track record of giving your investors good returns, then why should you change your terms for every single investor that comes along? It's all about positioning. It is always all about positioning. You take the other lady that you mentioned, clearly she's confident about what she's got.
Very.
She is doing the investor favor, not the other way around. Now, there are a lot of investors out there who have got big egos, and but there's many brilliant ones, but they've got the pot of money, and they like to be in that position because then they can sort of get the terms they're looking for, and they can negotiate hard and everything else. But the best deals are the ones where you go in as equals. You say, right, I'm giving you an opportunity to put your money in a place where I'm committing to give you a good return, and I will work to get that return for you. That's a good position to be in. And sort of, you can argue about whether all are like that, but that's certainly the attitude that you need to go in, because you need to get on the same page, or sort of equal players. On the other side, if you've got that, should you buckle to everybody? Maybe for the first one, you be flexible, but when there's 10 potential investors, no. I think you say, these are my terms. If you want to get on board, this is your opportunity.